Hi, Henry. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Yeah, my pleasure. Hi, Ashley and Jana, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
We're both big fans of your work, so this is awesome. So to start off, you've collaborated with others in the past, like Tim Burton and Neil Gaiman, and now Jordan Peele. And you have a distinct style, he has a distinct style. So what was it like marrying your geniuses together to create the world of Wendell and Wild?
I think we're all the people you mentioned, including myself, we're all probably from the same planet, but different neighborhoods. But it's nice to visit other neighborhoods. So I think there always has to be some common ground to start with, which there was certainly with Tim, and then with Neil and with Jordan. It started out to be one kind of thing where I just wanted to have him do voice work with his former comedy partner Keegan-Michael Key, but he turned out to be a super fan of stop motion animation, knew all about it, and because of his love for it, and he liked my stuff, he became a producer and a co-writer and helped grow the movie into being. So we had that. We definitely had, there's the common ground, a love for stop motion. And I went to him for comedy, but he's also a master of horror.
That's true.
So what was it
So-
like? It was pretty fucking great almost all the time.
Good to know.
That is, I mean, that's the way I would have put it, right, Ashley?
Exactly. It sounds like when you and I get together.
Yes.
I don't know who your audience. I mean, should I? You could.
No, it's perfect.
Okay.
It's just sometimes those things surprise us, but those are the things that I say all the time and I have to edit. So I'm like, ooh.
Okay.
So knowing the comedy genius that is, Key and Peele, how much room did you leave in the script to kind of let them riff off of one another, or was the dialogue pretty set for this?
Initially you have discussions about the characters and you show them designs, and we kept getting pushback from Keegan-Michael, who kept saying, well, why is my neck so long? Why is my head so spiky? Until Jordan finally tells him, Keegan-Michael, we're demons. Just shut up. Like, stop. Don't worry. So once we got past how they look as demons, and we got to a good place, we just talked about the characters and what their interactions would be. And they're students of comedy. They know all the types of comedy duos there could be. And they rattle off this whole list. Well, you want this or this or this or this. I can't keep up. And they say, how, you want the peas in a pod? And I said, oh yeah, peas in a pod. That sounds good. So then they try out some things and say, oh no, that's not going to work. And then, well, you want the Laurel and Hardy thing, but from the hood. Yeah, well, okay, let's try that. So they gave me all sorts of initial options up front. And that had an impact on the writing. And I'm writing with Jordan, so it's not me on my own. I usually would rough it out, but then he'd tweak it. At the end of the day, I'd go into the sessions very open-minded because they're geniuses and they're going to, the first session they hadn't worked together in a long, long time. So it gave them extra room. I needed to get the meaning of what was on the page, but I didn't need to get the exact words. But we were capturing it with video cameras and so forth. We let them go because they had to get in tune again with each other. And there's like a couple of hours probably for the first session of them just riffing on ideas from the script. And then after that, then we could really focus in, but they would always do something playful on top of what had been there. And there's a lot of that ended up in the film. So, you know what has to happen in the scene, but I learned with people like that, they don't have to use your words. If we can make it happen, they're probably going to come up with something better.
It's great. So
Awesome.
did Keegan, what did they think after they saw themselves then? Like the final, since he was kind of like, why am I so spiky and long neck? Like after seeing it, finalized, what did they think of it?
Well, I haven't, because I had a working relationship with Jordan, I've spoken to him and he saw the whole film and, really loved it and so forth. But I don't know that Keegan-Michael has seen it yet. And I haven't heard from him. I'm sure he'll be very happy with it. And I'm going to see him. We're going to show the film at the Toronto Film Festival in a couple of weeks. So he's going to be there, and Jordan, me, and Lyric Ross, who voices Kat. Yeah, he'll be fine. But yeah.
Awesome. So how would you describe Wendell and Wild in terms of scare factor? Does it lean more into the creepy doll with the button eyes or the friendly-ish musical with a skeleton king?
I don't think it's either of those two things. It's there's kind of a couple of types of scares. There's the kind of gross out comedy, which that's not even scares, but well, you have. Did you see the first 30 minutes of the film? Is that what
Yes.
you saw? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So you saw that bug that's brought back to life?
Ugh.
The
I think so,
squish.
yeah.
So I mean, there's some of that sort of. It's not scares, but there's bits of that gross out humor. But the scares, there's some very quick, unexpected things. Like the murder of Father Bess. But I'm trying to think. It's its own deal. I'd say it's like there's 3 ways to go at least, and we're a third way for the scares. There's in Act 3 when Kat has to basically face up to all her personal demons, not the literal demons of Wendell Wild, but her bad memories, all the things that are holding her back in her life. That's scary. That's it's like all these things her shadow gets projected up on a wall and they transform into all these things. And it's also beautiful, but that's probably the scariest thing in the film. And, she comes out of it stronger and better.
Great.
I mean, how scary do you want it? That's how scary it is.
I mean, I grew up with, I'm a millennial, so I grew up with, Nightmare and Roald Dahl and Hocus Pocus. So it's like I feel like our stuff was scarier anyway than it is now. So yeah, I'm good with the scare factor. I was just curious.
We have a PG-13 rating. Why? I don't know how the ratings board works, but I think it's totally good for 10-year-old and up, and even some brave 8-year-olds.
Noted.
Yes. Your kids will be fine, Ashley. They're going to love it.
I mean, they love the first 30 minutes, so
Yes.
we're in.
How old are your kids?
I have a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old.
Oh boy, we want to hit that sweet spot.
I think you did, especially with the demons. My son loves the gross out. The hair bit by itself was just, he loved that part. He's like, can we just watch that part again? I'm like, okay.
So I'm a huge stop motion animation fan. Some of my favorite films are stop motion animation in a world where most things are being computer generated these days. And I know you talked a little bit about this in the presentation earlier this morning, but how has it really changed since, you've worked on Coraline and Nightmare Before Christmas, especially with the advent of 3D printing? I know there are some studios that focus heavily on the use of that. How did that impact the type of production that you guys did?
Yeah, I've been around for so long that I kind of know all the earliest, those ancient techniques. And a lot of those carry through today, but just in a modern form. That way back when I worked with some Pillsbury Doughboy commercials, not the very first ones, but a later generation in late 1980s. And his expressions were made by changing his entire head. we'd pop on a new head for his little hoo-hoo and line it up so it just looked like his mouth and his eyes are moving. And then, so for Nightmare Before Christmas, we had several of the characters with the same type of complete replacement heads, but hundreds of them for Jack Skellington to have a full range of emotion. Finally, on Coraline, me and Martin Meunier actually came up with the idea of 3D printing, that we wanted to, instead of hand sculpting all these expressions, how about we could do the key expressions and then in between that on the computer and print them out in 3D. I happen to work at a place with one of the first 3D printers that existed. And so we developed that to a high level on Coraline, but I always like to start with kind of a hand sculpted key expression, or at the very least, something that's drawn by a cartoon animator. I don't like to build everything in the computer, because then even when you print it out and it looks like computer animation. So that leads to my other thing. What have we done? Where are we at? I want to make sure in Wendell Wild that stop motion has gotten too slick. I mean, I think it started a little with Coraline, but then the subsequent films made by Leica, they look like CG. And I love stop motion because I could still sense it's handmade. There's bumps and there's flaws and there's things that shift. So I pushed hard to go backwards and make it a little more low tech. Now we 3D print the faces. We have an upper and a lower face. In Coraline, we painted out the dividing line. Wendell Wild, no, we leave that in there because I feel like people will get used to it and then they won't think about it. We left in a lot of small mistakes. So that's one of the main things. The progress for me is we went all this way, and now I wanted to back up a little bit just to hold on to why we do stop motion in the first place, because so that you can tell humans touched it.
And it's one of the beautiful things about it.
Good.
I think that's why I like it too. It just feels, I don't know, real and like nostalgic and all that.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had so many years of like brilliant, perfect CG animated characters and special effects. It doesn't pop like it used to. It used to be like, wow, look at those dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. But after decades of that, after so much of that, I think there's room for more handmade stuff too.
You're not wrong. Well, I think that's all we have time for. We appreciate you speaking to us and sharing about Wendell and Wild and the process. And we look forward to seeing the rest of the film.
Well, it's great to speak with you two, and I sure hope you like the whole movie.
I think we will. I think
All right.
Jana's on mute, but she's definitely excited about it. I know.
Yes, looking forward to seeing it at TIFF.
Great. Please say hi there. I'll be there.
I will do that. Thank you.
All right, then. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks.